Welcome to episode 57 of Ring Talk, the weekly Goodwin boxing show. Myself, Martin Theobald, back from Max Budgeon, doing a grand job of having watched it myself. He's got a full-time job whenever he wants.
And also you're back from getting smashed in Benidorm.
It's very smashed in Benidorm, watching stuff you shouldn't be allowed to watch. It was incredible. And Steve, back from Turkey.
Back from Turkey for 3 days, back here, ready to roll and sorting out some big fights and loads of stuff to sort out. So it's really good, really exciting.
But before we crack on with any of that, subscribers.
I know we say it every week, but we still need another 240 subscribers to hit the 1,000 limit. The 1,000 limit is where you can start generating money, which we can put towards the boxers. And we're at 750. It's been very good over the last 3 weeks. We've got another 70. But we would like you, if you don't subscribe, to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it's going to help our boxers. And the quicker we get to 1,000 subscribers, it means that it's quicker that we can start to generate revenue, which will all go back, which every penny will go back to the boxers.
Even I've subscribed, and I'm on here every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really important to get those numbers up. So if you can do, if you are watching this and you don't do it, please do it. And if you know anybody else who watches YouTube, just get them to subscribe for us. It doesn't cost them anything, it doesn't cause them any problems, but to get to that 1,000 number is really important for us. So we'd appreciate if you could do that.
For the benefit of the boxers.
Yeah.
Lovely. Right, before we go on any further as well, I've got some sponsors in from people, which is great, as I ask for each week. Robbie Chapman, who is sponsored by Canavape, who produce CBD products, the only company to use 0% THC.
CBD, is that cannabis oil?
Yeah, I think so. It means nothing to me. If I'm perfectly honest, I don't know enough about it. But also sponsored by the Turmerico, who make health drinks, so that's turmeric drinks. Right. And Camden Piercing and Tattoos is a Camden caretaker, so being looked after by local businesses to him,
that's what you want.
Which is great. And they'll also give any discount, or they'll give discount to any Camden caretaker fans. So there you go. If you're a Robbie Chapman fan and you're around Camden, mention him.
Or if you're not a Robbie Chapman fan and you have tattoos, just say you're a Robbie Chapman fan and get a discount.
And the other one, Mark Butler, trained by Xavier Miller, messaged me the other day. One of his sponsors, the King's Head Pub in Seaford, East Sussex, which is the best pub in East Sussex that I've ever been to. It's a great place. And the other one is Lockhart Promotions. So yeah, Mark Butler's sponsors, which important. Support those boxers. People support the companies that support
have a look at these companies, because you know they're supporting the boxing families and the boxers. So take those names, Google search them, and it may be something, and sometime in the future it could be useful for you. And for us, we will be doing that, and we will try and support these companies whenever possible. Because if we support the people that support boxing, it helps all the boxers, and it's very hard for these boxers when they start out. So would appreciate your help with all of this.
It really, it does help them out. And the other one, of course, was Tony Pills, Southern Grove property developers down in London, which was the one that we failed to record the other week. Yes. So Southern Grove Property Development, best development company in London.
And they really support Tony Pill and his boxers. So for Southern Grove, have a good look at them. They're a great company, and they really get behind the boxing families. And again, these companies, they really deserve every bit of support that all of us can give them. Yeah,
and that's the formalities out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's move on. You teased it out on Twitter the other day that you had lots of titles that you were working on.
We're up to 4 now. 4 big fights that we've done, and it's not the end. There's loads more to work through at the moment. So we'll start off with Brad Pauls. I'm really excited about this one. Brad Pauls, we've been hunting for this Southern Area middleweight title. Linus Udoka was due to fight Taylor Jones. We then got a problem where we had Denzel Bentley sitting there when Linus had already been committed for a final eliminator. Denzel Bentley didn't make a fight, so it was a total waste of time. Nobody made a fight for him. So the whole thing with Linus could have fought for it. But thank God, Brad Pauls now has got that opportunity, and he fights Darren Cordona at York Hall on the 8th of June. So it's Brad's big night. Everybody get behind him, because he's a great lad and he deserves every bit of support. He's exciting to watch. That is going to be an explosive fight.
It will be, because Darren's got the additional benefit or drive, I guess, of having fought Linus, lost to Linus. Now he gets his gym mate. He gets a chance at redemption.
He's got a different type of fighter, because Linus is the slick boxer mover. Brad will go and have a war. This fight, I think, is going to be really explosive and exciting.
Yeah.
Expect to see knockdowns, everything happening in this fight. 8th of June, get to York Hall. Brad Paul's Darren Cordona. Could be a small hall classic, I think.
It could be fun.
Yeah.
I think fun might be
and
the best
I'm
one.
delighted. And Linus is now mandatory for the English title. So both stablemates are moving in directions of titles. So it's worked out well in the end.
Yeah.
Despite all the negatives. But I would say with this title fight that I think I'm right in saying it's not far off a year between the last time it was contested.
Really?
I think Taylor Jones fought Darren Cordona, and I think it was last September.
Yeah, must be about
so by the time it goes through 9 months, how on earth a title that Southern Area is not fought for 10 months or 9 months or whatever it is, it might be longer. It's just disgraceful.
When you hope they keep them in rotation,
Well,
keep
all
them
these
moving.
fighters, all the fighters out there that want to fight for titles are held up by boxing politics and nonsense.
Yeah.
I just think it's shocking of how that has happened. It happened before with the light heavyweight title, where Anthony Yard sat on it for nearly a year. The behaviour of people in this sport, they just do not give a shit about what they do to other people. And I think that it's just certain people should hold everything in shame in this sport for what they do to people. And again, you know, if we have a fighter with a title who's not going to defend it, we will relinquish that to let another fighter, whether it's ours or somebody else's, come through. But too many people are just so intent on causing disruption for disruption's sake.
Yeah. But the positive is Brad Paul's.
But the positive, the end result is Brad Paul's gets his big chance. Excellent. And then it's great for him. The second fight I've got to announce is that Sean Robinson will defend his Southern Area Super Welterweight title against John Brennan on the 29th of June at York Hall.
Okay.
John Brennan is on a winning streak. He's 12-5, been in with some good kids. That's a really good fight. And if you haven't seen John Brennan fight, you will see that this is a real tough call.
He's got the experience over Sean as well.
He's 33, and he's been in some big fights with some good competitors, and he's decent. He is really decent. It's a really good fight. On the same night, I'm delighted that we've been able to deliver something for Dean Richardson. Because Dean's obviously after that title as well, but Dean will box in a final eliminator for that title against Aylesbury's Nathan Graham, who is a former Southern Area champion and a real decent quality operator. So you've got both of those fights on the same night on the 29th of June. So that's going to be a cracking night so far, and there's more to come yet. So we're delighted with those two. And finally, which isn't going to take part on our show, we're quite happy for our boxers, as you know, to box wherever it makes financial sense.
If the opportunity arises.
Liam Dillon will be boxing at the end of May against Lewis Adams, one of Mo Pryor's fighters, on Mo's show. The reason we're doing it on Mo's show, twofold. If you're boxing away in the Southern Area against the Southern Area fighter at York Hall, you're not going to have the bias that you would have if you fight in Sheffield for an English title or whatever else it may be. And secondly, the financial deal that we got for Liam far exceeds what we would have been able to have done if he was a home fighter. So he's got a really good payday for Southern Area. I think we've done a really good job for him. He's delighted with the deal, and if he's good enough, he'll win. And I think Liam's got the experience, and we think he goes into the fight as favourite. So again, an exciting fight for Liam. And he goes to defence. So it's 4 big fights coming up with loads more to add. Loads that we're working on.
So what are the dates people need to keep free in their diaries then?
So we have at the moment, well, we have coming up, we have the 27th of this month, we've got the return of the Albanian Florian. I've got some news about Florian to announce in a minute. He fights Robert Asagba on the 27th of April.
That's a hell of a fight for his second fight.
It's a proper fight. He wants to go in, but you didn't go to the last one, did you?
No, I didn't make it.
Are you going to this one?
I will make it, I'm sure.
I've got to go to this one because
I need to see it.
Josh said to me, I missed it because I was at the Copper Box, and Josh said to me, and Andy Brown, security, never seen anything like it in 30 years. Eric Guy said, never seen anything like it in 40 years. And Josh said, you can't watch the videos, you've got to be there. So I can't wait to go and see the whole scenario of it. So we've got that happening there. Then we've got the Goodwin shows are the 8th of June, which is the Brad Pauls fight.
Yeah.
The 29th of June, which is the double header from those two fights, and then we've got the first Saturday in July, which we haven't. We're building the cards, but there's no top of the bill yet for the July.
Yeah.
But we pretty much built the cards now, and there's some exciting stuff going on those shows. But,
Lovely.
and there's another show that we're involved with in May, but more will come out about that in due course.
Yep. Okay, Terence Freshwater, new signing.
So yeah, there's two actual new signings. In fact, we've got Terence Freshwater from Milton Keynes, Aylesbury, trained by Steve Sanford. Really excited to have him. He's a good amateur. He turned pro a year ago. Things didn't go to plan.
Yeah.
And he had originally not signed with us. He had signed with somebody else, but that situation terminated, and then he came to us and said, look, we really need to go with you. And so great, so we've signed him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him in the ring. And this week we have signed management terms with Florian Marku, the Albanian boxer. We were basically just promoting him.
Yeah.
And that was all our role was, but I think he's realised that management is, he needs us for the management.
And there was competition from elsewhere for him, wasn't there?
God, loads. Everybody wanted him, and but he wanted to sign management. He saw that when we did the show for him, that everything that we told him, we delivered. We kept our word on every single aspect, and I think that's important in life. And he realised, he knows that in boxing that's not normally the case, and he was very happy with his financial reward, and we were just happy to, let him, help him deliver that. And so now he wants us to manage him, and now we're going to have some very interesting chats with various people. And there are we've had some offers on the table, but I consider myself to be very smart in negotiating through them. So there's going to be exciting times with Florian if he keeps winning. Robert Asagba, who I also manage, Robert has a big chance of winning.
It's a real fight.
It's not a fight that I would pick for Florian, but
has he picked it? Or Josh?
Brennan? No. Well, what it was, they wanted somebody who was going to come and win and had a positive record, and Robert, and they're paying good money, and Robert was happy to take that fight. So that's their choice. He's got to keep winning, but he doesn't want rollovers. And I saw Robert on Friday night in London, and he says, I'm 100% going to knock him out. But it's great that it's going to be a proper fight, and I think that's really important. So nobody's going there to watch a fight. That is going to be electric that'll be more electric than anything I've ever seen in boxing, I think.
Is he expecting the same numbers as last time out?
Yeah.
It was full, wasn't it? Every seat full.
It's going to be full again. And Robert went there last time to do a recce. And I said to him, didn't it bother you? He said, no. He said, when I knock him over, I'm just going to stand over him. And
don't taunt, Robert. Don't taunt.
And I said to him, really stop annoying the Albanian population, because he's going on Florian's social media, isn't he?
I've not seen.
Have you seen it?
No.
He's been going on Florian's social media and saying things like, I'm knocking your boy out, you can't fight for him, come and watch him lose.
Brilliant. So
but then he's getting abuse now. So you now got
wound up Albanians.
The Albanians who are cheering for Florian, who now probably hate Robert.
Wonderful.
So you've probably really got an extra antagonistic crowd. But I don't know why you would want to rile up all these people who are already going to hate you. Now they're going to double hate you. But I think for us, and you and me in particular, it's going to be an experience that we probably won't ever, because I doubt he'll fight at your call again. He may do, but I doubt it. It's probably an experience we will not see again ever in boxing.
I look forward to it.
I think it's going to be something great to see.
Good luck, Andy Brown and co. So moving on from that, Sam Cox.
Yeah, Sam Cox goes on the Matchroom card on the 20th of April. He's looking to make a statement, and Sam's a great guy. He's got a big following, and if ever he works very hard at his self-promotion, as you see, which we talk about boxers all the time. It's so important to build self-promotion, and so many boxers don't do it. Do you know, yesterday we had a media day here. We invited 18 boxers to the media day. 8 accepted to come, 10 declined, and 4 showed up. Now, don't then the boxers that don't do this stuff moan. If boxers don't put themselves out to do things, then if you're struggling to sell tickets or you're struggling with your marketing, it's tough shit, right? Because you're not actually doing anything to help yourself.
It's my bugbear in boxing.
Because the thing is, if you come and do everything, and you do everything you can, and you're active on social media, you do everything, and you need help, then we can help. But if they don't show up and do things, if they don't market themselves, and if they then don't sell tickets, or it becomes a struggle, well, that's their fault, nobody else's, and it's crazy.
So to give people an idea of what a media day would be, they turn up, they have photos done, they box in front of a green screen, which can then be made into little video clips and video adverts for their fights coming up. All this stuff that looks really good when you put it out.
And they just don't turn up.
So who were the 4 that did?
I wasn't here.
Ah, okay.
So I don't know. Isaac Fletcher turned up. Timur Duglin turned up. Harry Armstrong turned up, and there was one other because I just saw the video clips.
Yeah.
I think actually I know it was Sheikh. Sheikh Waziri turned up. Okay. They're the 4 that turned up. So all 4 of them deserve big plaudits, and we know that they are doing everything committed. They possibly can. Yeah.
I mean, what's stupid is they don't deserve big plaudits, because that's kind of, it's your job as a boxer. It's your job to push yourself out. As much as it is to get in the ring, I appreciate that. You've also got to build that following, unless you've got the...
Do you know what excuse I saw on social media? Some didn't come. Too early. That's ridiculous, right?
I appreciate it's hard. You've got training, a lot of them work.
But the reason we did it on a Sunday was we're not doing them on Sundays anymore. We're not doing it anymore because we're not going to waste the photographer's time. No. So now a boxer wants to do it, we'll probably make a space for them during the weekdays in the week. Other than that, they can do it themselves.
Those earlier ones that you did over at your house, you had a great turnout for that. I remember likes of Lawrence Bennett and Floyd Moore and all sorts.
Now they seem to feel that they don't need to do this anymore. But the same people that don't come, some of them will be the ones that don't sell.
Yeah, yeah. So, Leon McKenzie all pissing about on your pool table, and that was great fun that day. It was.
But that's ridiculous. 4 out of 18 turning up when you've got a photographer booked for a morning that costs money, and so he's had a morning. We've paid him for a morning,
and it cost him nothing. The box.
It cost nothing. No. And that photographer's, we've had to pay for a morning's wages for him, in effect. Yeah. Shocking.
Sort yourself out. But yeah, Sam Cox fighting.
So Sam Cox, totally digress there. But Sam Cox, I'm really excited to watch him on the 20th, and then we'll be going. We're excited about that, and then I've got to go over to the Costas show, where I've got a couple of fighters on the Costas show at Lee Valley the same day. So I'll be doing a double hit. And then we've just announced this week that we've got 2 fighters on the undercard of the Billy Joe Saunders World Title fight. A.D. Burden from Aylesbury and Graham Tirrell from Stevenage will be boxing on the undercard at Stevenage Football Ground. Great dealing with Francis Warren this week and sorting out the deals for the fighters. So they at the moment are both confirmed to be on the Frank Warren show. And I'm delighted. It'll be the first time we work with Frank Warren on the undercards. So I'm delighted to start working with them there. Obviously I've worked with them with Nicola Adams. So it's good to be working with Matchroom 1 month, Frank Warren the next month, and that's really what we want to do. We just want to work with everybody. Yeah. And that's the important thing to be able to do.
Yeah. I spoke with Francis Warren years back. He was a really nice bloke.
He's alright. He's alright.
Yeah, cool. So any other news? You got Ossie Jervier away, isn't you?
He's fighting Luke Watkins in Swindon. Ossie's going to go to Swindon and take his chance in the away.
He could beat him, Ossie.
Do you think so?
Yeah. It wouldn't... I'm not saying he's the favourite, but
he's not a no hope, is he?
No. I know Ossie's been out on the road quite a lot of late, but he's a game away fighter. He's not the journeyman type, is he?
The thing is, Luke is vulnerable.
Yeah.
And Ossie, if he connects on the chin, it will be good night.
I love watching Ossie because he's so vulnerable himself, but
he hits.
He can wallop.
So I think it's really good, and I think. It's a shame for me that it's on the same day as the Florian show, because otherwise I'd have gone to Swindon.
That's a Nielsen boxing show, isn't it?
They're doing a good job.
Yeah, good luck to, I think, is it with Paddy Fitzpatrick as well?
They're doing a good job. They put a good show on down there, and good luck to them. So that's really good. But yeah, so he's on the road and having a little go. And there is potentially a fight for Michael Ramabalazza that we were talking about last week, but we've agreed sort of a deal tentatively but we're now waiting for the other party to agree to box him, which is half the problem because these people don't want to box him, which I'll tell you about off camera.
Okay.
So that possibly could happen in the next month or so.
Phil Williams not going to Vegas?
Phil Williams is not going to Vegas. No, he's not going to Vegas.
He put up a Facebook post saying about he'd
fun on the Joshua undercard. Do you know it was
on April the 1st?
On April the 1st, yeah. So no, it's all going well. We've got new signings going on. We're announcing the ones that are actually licensed rather than the ones that we're pushing through the licensing process, and we do that deliberately because whenever we announce somebody that's going through the licensing process, somebody tries to poach them and tap them up, and it's getting really annoying, so we don't want to release those names in advance anymore. That's the only reason we're not getting more signings announced at this stage.
Yeah.
So.
Alright, we're going to move on to the questions, of which there were quite a few this week, so thank you very much to everybody that submitted them. So, we will start with...
So quite a few?
Yeah. You haven't read them, have you? I like
that. My phone was switched off all weekend.
Yeah, good on you. Yestins on Twitter. If you had to choose one country where your journeyman would come from, where would they be? Bearing in mind they all cost the same to cover, come over, visa, non-visa. So if they all cost exactly the same, what would your country of choice be?
Not about the country of choice, about the boxer of choice.
But, I mean, Bulgarians are tough, aren't they, in general? Who stands up and fights back?
I think it's different, isn't it? I think
England.
I think the English fighters. I think it's really hard. You can go to Bulgaria and you get some real tough Bulgarians. Then you get ones that aren't tough. You can get some tough Hungarians. You can get some really tough Croatians. I think it depends on the boxer, to be honest. I don't have a particular country of preference. It's about getting, because when we actually pick an opponent for a boxer, we do not even look at the flight costs.
Right.
We just say, what's the right opponent? Unlike some people don't do this, but we are about selecting the right opponent the best we can rather than the cheapest. So we do pick the ideal. Every single fight we make with our boxers, we are picking what we consider to be the most ideal, and we don't care about the country.
Yeah, fair enough. UK Boxing 1 on Twitter. Thoughts on how Isaac Chamberlain is taken to social media at the moment? At first it appeared funny, now slightly cringeworthy. And if you were his promoter, how would you react to his behaviour?
Okay, right, so here we go.
Yeah.
The first thing is, I don't know it's Isaac running his own social media.
I'm going to hazard a guess it's not.
I don't think it is him.
I'm going to hazard a guess. I know who it is.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you know him as well.
Okay. I was going to say I don't think it's Isaac on his social media. To me, at first I'd agree it was fine, but this continual stuff of I'm not fighting for chump change, I don't want to fight any. But the point is he doesn't want to fight. Dion Jumi he could fight, who's ready to give him 10 weeks notice and we could make that fight happen. Nothing happens. So I'm just getting bored of it now. I'm getting bored of it.
I love Isaac, and
I do like Isaac.
Yeah.
But I think his social media is now, whilst at the start was getting
refreshing,
has now got boring.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I think he's caught in this paradox, isn't he, whereby he seems to value himself very highly without having any titles or anything to be valued for.
Well, I think the promoter has shown what he's doing. Nothing.
Yeah,
which he's not getting any fights.
You can't really blame him.
So you got the fact that Eddie Hearn does not appear that he's doing a lot with him. He's leaving him, and
what would you do in Hearn's position?
Well, Hearn's position, yeah, probably the same as what Hearn is doing, and you know, Isaac needs maybe somebody else to work alongside his existing people.
It's almost like he needs a break from Matchroom and to go somewhere else, because I think if you've sullied that water so much with Hearn,
but if you write that stuff about any promoter, I'm afraid you're going to get the same. What I've learned in boxing is you have to respect everybody, but if they step out of line and do something wrong, you have to pull them on it.
Yeah.
And I think at times I will deal with situations that I'm unhappy with, and I'll say what it is, but I won't bleat on and do it like that. If I feel I'm not getting the right deal, what do? I tell the promoter I want a better deal and negotiate for a better deal, and he'll either pay it or he won't pay it. I won't go whinging and slating off Eddie Hearn, who might be Frank Boglioni's promoter, or Frank Warren, who is Nicola Adams' promoter. We try and reach common consensus, but whilst not always agreeing in every particular instance. But I think to do stuff like that on social media, you just alienate the person that you want to back you, and it doesn't do you any favours.
Yeah, nothing for the record. I don't blame Matchroom in that. I think they're right to react the way they have, which is just to ignore almost. But that break may be beneficial for both, just to say.
Because I heard they were trying to make Isaac against Billum Smith. Billum Smith, who totally behaved appallingly with Dion Juma. He ran from Dion Juma as fast as an Olympic, as a Usain Bolt, really. Because he knows he was going to get smashed by Dion Juma would have smashed Billum Smith. So he ran and went to Isaac Chamberlain, who they considered to be a weaker thing. But then Isaac Chamberlain's obviously, to a certain extent, not negotiating well, because he's not fighting, is he? Yeah. His last fight was against Watkins. So I don't. It's nothing to do with me. I don't manage him. If I was his manager, there would be a total change of policy.
But I don't know who manages him now, because he was with Ted Bammy and he had at least
he's still with Ted Bammy.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a bit.
So what I'm saying is, it's not working. You know, it's not working for him, right? So therefore, if it's not working, you should change it. But at the end of the day, that's up to whoever is managing him or advising him to do that. But for me, I think the best thing for me to say was I'd be advising him to go in a different direction.
Fair enough. From JP Smith at Boxing Luton, update on Kay if possible, please.
We'll know more this week.
All right.
There are several things that we're trying to sort out, and we will be able to announce it where we're sitting with him next Tuesday.
Fair enough. Paul Altai, if possible, who would your ideal fights be for Linus?
Well, he's mandatory for the English title, so that's really simple. His ideal fight is now it's a title. It's not who we're fighting; it's what we're fighting for that matters. So the English title for Linus is what's next, but that's not going to come until after the summer. So whether Linus has a tick over fight is up to him. But at the moment, his ideal fight is obviously to win that English title and then manoeuvre from there to the British Commonwealth titles.
How much of an input do Haymaker have in that with Linus?
Nothing.
So they don't propose, he could come on this show. Not that they run their own shows.
They don't run shows anymore. So,
but under Chisora, say, where he's.
Well, there's a hope. There's obviously we were offered. Chisora's fighting on the 20th of April.
Yeah.
But we were offered a slot for Linus on that show, but it wasn't. He was having to do the same ticket deal that Sam Cox is doing.
Right. Despite being a Haymaker fighter.
Well, he's not technically a Haymaker. The Haymaker sort of loosely.
Sorry, yeah.
Loosely, sort of. They help, and they were very helpful. They put him on an early show, but. But they're helping us out. If there's anything they can help us with, they will. But that wasn't very helpful because Linus is past the 1, 2, 3 fight ticket deals on big shows. They're having to sell bucket loads of tickets, and he's past that now.
And also 20th of April would be quite soon for him as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, although if he'd had a nice tick over fight, that would have been okay for him. But it wasn't financially viable. And you've got to remember, it depends on how much. When you're doing a Chisora pay-per-view card, then David Hay will have a lot more clout on what's going on than he would do on a non-pay-per-view card. So with due respect to him, I think he didn't have the clout to be able to give Linus a proper slot.
And I think Chisora himself said he didn't want to headline it. He wanted Dave Allen to headline it.
So in effect, he's in that position, so it doesn't work for Linus. David Hay's been very good to Linus. He's done a lot of stuff for him. But I'm Linus's manager. I run Linus's career. I choose with Linus and Terry Stewart the route.
Yeah.
That's what happens. David Hay has no input in that. What he would do is if he had a slot for Linus on a big show and could help, he'll come along and help.
Nice. And what about for Dion?
Well, Dion Juma, we just need to get somebody in the ring with him. Now that he was due to have a person with Glover. Glover then got knocked out.
Yeah.
So now that's gone. So now the board will meet this week and we'll see what they come up with now. It's very, very, very frustrating. But the problem is we'll have to take a view and see what the board can do. The board are trying to help him, but it's just sometimes a bit patient. The thing that's going to happen though, if the boxers keep getting nominated and keep avoiding him and pull out, it does mean when the British title comes up for grabs, these fighters that keep running are going to fall down below the pecking order.
Does Dion by default just keep moving up through the levels because nobody will.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So at the end of it, we can say
we've tried.
We've tried to make that, and if he keeps getting avoided by these people, then they are not going to be considered in advance of him for a British title, I would hope.
Is that dangerous for Dillon that he doesn't get the tests and the challenges on the way up?
Yeah, that's absolutely.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we're hoping somebody will. I mean, we had a message from Mark Dunlop. He said Tommy McCarthy will fight him. Great, but Tommy McCarthy is Irish, and we need somebody for the English, which is a shame because Tommy McCarthy's a proper fighter. Yeah. I like Tommy McCarthy. I think he's a proper warrior. But I'm sick of some of these cruiserweights who...
You went out on Twitter the other day.
I'm sick of them. I'm sick of the bullshit. Because I'm going to take Lawrence Okoli. Yeah. He's fighting and he's going. He's
a level above.
He's a level above at the moment because he's going for a world title.
Yeah.
Richard Riakporhe, he's doing very well, but that makes perfect sense for me. That fight, Richard Riakporhe against Darren Juma. He's not a level above for certain. And that fight makes great sense for everybody, but they don't seem to want that. You've then got Glover. There's nobody else that seems to want to step forward and have a go.
With the Glover situation, the fact he got knocked out on the Liverpool card, does that now null and void?
Well, it doesn't automatically, but the board issued a thing on Friday saying they've removed Glover out of the fight.
Right.
That's just come through, so now they'll reconsider it this week again.
In the same way they took Fowler out after Fowler Cheeseman was now Fitzgerald Cheeseman.
Yes, so they changed that. They didn't have to change that because the rules are you only get taken out if you lose at your weight. But Glover thought, I think let me explain what happens. I know I haven't done the weights. If you fight within your weight, so if in that fight where Glover got knocked out, he was weighing 14.4 and the other guy's weighing 14.4, he automatically gets removed.
Right.
If you are fighting in a weight above, so you're fighting 14.5, 14.6, in the heavyweight, then it's not an automatic revoke.
In the same way, who was it Surgeon Bombo beat a few years back? I can't remember, welterweight. The welterweight was in line to fight for the British, and Bombo beat him, but it wasn't at welterweight.
Yeah, I know.
That's going to annoy me now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Oliver McManus might be an obvious one. I'm not sure, but could Steve explain the whole US purse system and why what's reported by state commissions is rarely what fighters actually receive? I'm not sure if that made any sense, but there you are. I know what you mean.
Sense.
So,
why do you? What you're saying is, why do you see a purse of $100,000 when you know the boxer has received more than that?
Nathan Cleverly, when he fought Badu Jack on the Mayweather-McGregor undercard, his declared purse was something like $20,000. It was like ridiculously low. So why? Without getting yourself in trouble.
Let's just say I'm not going to talk about any individual case.
Yeah.
I'm just going to talk generics as to the reasons that you could want to declare a lower purse.
Maybe, you know.
Right. The first one is to pay lower tax in America. Because in America, when you fight, you get withholding tax and board tax.
Yeah.
So if you declare a lower purse, then you will pay lower taxes. So that would be the first potential reason you could do that. The second potential reason to do it is because the boxer's being scammed out of money. In that by not putting proper purses through, let's say there were 6 people in the queue.
Yeah. The
real purse could be 800,000. The declared purse to the American could be 100,000, and various people are taking the money out. So it becomes virtually impossible to trace where the money has gone. So, yeah. So there could be. It would be one of those two reasons, or a combination of the two.
So I mean, Hearns talked about it before of fighters that go over there and they may, on paper, I think it's Cal Yafai maybe, look like a very low purse, but then he was saying that doesn't include the British TV rights or perhaps sponsorships. So yeah, there are additional things that may be added on.
So Eddie was saying that those purses are real, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I may. Seeing as I don't do that. I may say that I don't believe that to be the case. but again, nobody's going to say if that's what they've done. It's technically a little bit naughty, isn't it? So I'm just saying they would be the reasons that they would be. I don't know in which instance, and I'm sure in some instances they are the real purses.
Yeah.
But in some instances they are not.
It'd be really useful for a boxer if they happened to walk out and there was a bag of cash laying there that they could take home with them.
Well, but it may not be they're seeing the cash sometimes.
Well, that's true.
The cash may not be. That may be. You know, if a boxer, for example, is given a purse of $50,000 and then he's told, "Don't worry, we're giving you another 100,000 back in sterling," but you don't. How do you know what was really given from the top down?
Yeah. Gerard Byrne. Hello, lads. Do you think showing shows live on YouTube, like IFL and VIP do, is good for attracting new audiences to the game?
Absolutely not.
No?
No. I think what it does is it detracts from the live gate. It detracts from people paying to watch live boxing. It does not. I've not seen any stats or any proof that people watching this stuff on through the media increases attendances. Does not do that. What it does do is people that are going to watch one fight will sometimes think, if I know it's on telly, I'll watch it at home. The boxers lose money. I don't care what anybody says. The boxers lose money from ticket sales. The promoters lose money from ticket sales, and sometimes give tickets away to make the venues look fuller.
Yeah.
And everybody loses. But there are reasons that people do it. Some of it's for ego, and some of it is for other reasons. But all I'm saying is that makes absolutely no sense. What does generate people to go are watching the big Sky shows.
Yeah.
That will generate people to go to boxing. But to watch some of these small hall stuff, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of it is really rubbish to watch. It looks empty arenas, it looks no atmosphere. You'd watch it and think, why the hell would I want to go to that?
Agree.
You agree?
Agree. And if the production value, like IFL do a lovely production value for the MTK shows. I've seen others that don't. I'm not going to name any names about it, but if it looks like you filmed it on a phone, then it's not good enough. So you need to invest heavily in that, and that's a substantial cost.
So the other problem is that if you're going to watch 40-36, 40-36, 40-36, right, and you're a new boxing fan, and you watch one-sided contests on television, right, and you think, oh, is that what this is? It's going to put you off. I believe streaming low-quality cards, what I consider low-quality cards sometimes, does have a detrimental effect. People are not going to watch, in my opinion, those sort of shows, or our sort of shows, unless they were interested in going anyway.
Yeah.
Because if they weren't interested in going anyway, and they're not going to go, oh, I'll go and watch a boxing thing on show. They're not going to do that and think, I'm a random boxing person. I'm not really interested in going, but I'll hunt for this on YouTube. I'll watch it on YouTube, and that will make me go next time. Absolute rubbish.
Yeah, I say a push. Like, if I can't get to a show on a Saturday night and it's on IFL on YouTube, I'll watch it.
For you and me, yeah, but that doesn't make. But we're the people watching it.
Yeah.
That's not going to make us want to go and pay, because we don't want
yeah.
to anyway.
I may have gone to it if I could have got there, but I can't get to there.
But you don't pay to watch boxing, really, do you? You might go and watch the bigger shows.
Yeah, not really.
The small hall, anybody will let you go. I'm just saying that you're talking about somebody that doesn't really go to boxing, right? So they're not really a boxing fan. They don't know any of the boxers, so wouldn't have bought a ticket anyway. Yeah. So they're going to troll through, watch it and go, wow, I now want to go.
Yeah.
What they're going to do is watch an Eddie Hearn card that's really exciting, and they're going to watch that on Sky, be a casual viewer and go, I want to go and see a boxing show. Yes, that happens.
Yeah.
Yes, that happens.
I like to do what Andrew Fairley does now, which is pick a boxer at random on the card and buy a ticket off them. Even if I'm going anywhere, I'd get him for free. It's just to buy a ticket off a boxer and support them and give the ticket away somewhere. But British Boxing Blog on Twitter. Not referring to you, Steve, but do you think British boxing should be subject to stricter guidance for promoters and managers? Is there a conflict between the two roles?
Yes, there is a massive conflict between the two roles.
You can throw trainers in there and make it even...
Throw trainers who but trainers managing boxers is a massive conflict as well, because... But let's deal with the question. If they tomorrow said you cannot be a manager and a promoter, right? What would I do? Well, it's really simple. I don't really promote much anyway.
You'd hand in your promoter's licence.
And just manage on other people's shows, right? So it doesn't actually there is a way around it. There are people in America who will have husbands being the manager, wife being the promoter.
They've got the Ali Act, haven't they?
Yeah, but you can still do it, and you can still make it. You can still beat it by having somebody that appears to be distant, but it's still managed by the same people.
Have an advisor.
So the problem that you have is it's about the people in the sport, and the board regulate it as best as they can. And the manager, I always say when I meet a boxer, when you come to see me, you are talking about me as the manager. Forget the promoter.
Yeah.
I am your manager. I'm going to get you on the best shows I can. The fact that I'm linked with other promoters and do my own shows sometimes that are sitting there are an added bonus to you because it keeps you active and it gives you the chance to be on the best small shows that we believe that we produce with all the production that we do. But at the end of the day, my primary role is your manager, and it's your managerial interests that come first, foremost, and are solely ahead of the promoting. Because if you look at something very simply, if we had put some of these boxers on a Goodwin show rather than on the TV shows, then you could have generated more money from them. But no, it's better for them to go on there for their exposure and for the fact that they want to take their fans to a bigger show. So we will do the right thing by them. Not everybody does this, because it's in the promoter manager's interest, if he's the same guy, to keep them on their show selling tickets for as long as they can and as many years as they can, to keep the ching 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 coming in, right, to help the shows break even or whatever else is going on. It doesn't serve an interest in passing them over. So there are massive conflicts, yes, and that's why boxers should choose wisely. There are people within a 50-mile radius of here who are signed just to keep the promoters' sales ching ching chinging, and there is absolutely nothing being built, not being built for other shows, not being given any opportunities, and they will keep getting ching ching chinged along until they realise, and hopefully it's not too late.
Yeah. It wasn't that long back when you had, I mean, Dan Keenan's a massive ticket seller, and you allowed him onto the World Boxing Super Series show.
And he fought on the David Hayes show.
Would have been far more beneficial for you to have him on.
Of course, but we do the right thing.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. But then, as you know, and we could list the managers that do the right, manager promoters that do the right thing, and we can list the manager promoters that do the wrong thing. Not up for me to say that, but boxers need to do due diligence, for sure.
Shaz on Twitter. You're right, Shaz, lovely bloke.
He is good, man.
Does good for boxers as well.
So. He's a really good guy.
I've always admired the mileage you put in for your boxers, which often goes unnoticed. What's he after? What are your ambitions for your present stable of fighters?
The same as it always has been, to take each individual fighter and develop them to the greatest potential, to win the highest level, to overachieve. In other words, what I want to do is, if I think I've got somebody who is not Southern Area level, to get them to win a Southern Area title. If they are Southern Area level, to win an English title.
Yeah.
So each individual boxer, they're unique. So we have to look at them individually and say, what do we want to do? Where do we want to go? And then try and work a way of getting them to overachieve.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. So it's not saying, I'm going to take this group of fighters and do this. Everyone's individual, and if you deal with that like I did with Dean Richardson when I spoke to him about his plans, they'll be different than Sean Robinson, even though they're the same weight. And each one we're trying to manoeuvre to give them the greatest possible end result to their career.
Yeah, I'm reluctant to ask the second half of this, but I will because it's Shaz. Who has the potential to become a world champion?
It's really hard to say that, right? When
I know you struggle with this.
Nicola Adams, because she's going to fight for it.
There you go.
So she's got the greatest potential because you see
she's there.
She's there. So, and I think, who would have said Josh Warrington when he was 5-0 was going to be a world champion? Yeah. It takes a long time. A lot of our boxers have got great potential, and then you've got to manage them through. You've got to manage them well. They've got to listen. They've not got to have their heads turned by bullshit. And they've got to have faith with the people they're with. Josh Warrington stuck with Steve Wood.
Yeah.
Right. Steve Wood's a very good manager. One of the only. Yeah, there's not many, but he's one. But he chose to stay with Steve Wood the whole way through, which was the right thing to do, and trust a man that knew that he could deliver everything all the way. So there's that as well. So how do I know whether a boxer's going to go off the rails and start to get a bigger ego than he should have? So there's a hell of a lot towards that. You've got people like you could say Dion Juma, who's at the English level. He's still just rising up the levels. We don't know where his levels will stop. He could be.
Yeah.
But we can't say that at this stage, because at this particular stage, we're not even British champion yet.
Yeah. Scott Fitzgerald a Steve Wood fighter? I think he is.
I think he is. He does a great job with the fighters up north.
Yeah.
Steve Wood. Really good job.
Scott Fitzgerald did a great job on Fowler, didn't he? What a fight. That was a great fight.
Yeah, I know. I think
New respect for Fowler out of that.
Yeah.
Especially the way he handled it afterwards.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Again from Shaz, would you consider doing fight night programmes for some of the Goodwin shows? Maybe great souvenir items and a further opportunity for boxers to raise some income via sponsorship slots in them.
We did it for 4 years. After you lose $6,000 a year by doing them.
Really?
The cost of production is really expensive. We had to sell, at the venue, we would have to sell 330 programmes to break even.
Wow.
And we were selling 70 or 80.
Which is, what, 1 in 4 people that come in?
Programme.
Of which if you come with 2 people, you're
if
not
you're going to buy a glossy programme, you've got to pay for the writing, you've got to pay for the printing, you've got to pay for the settings of every page. Yeah. If you look, Eddie Hearn now he's got rid of programmes now, he does it all online.
They do a really nice one as well.
Yeah, it doesn't make any financial sense. So it didn't work. We've tried it before, and you can see that Eddie Hearn has now abandoned it. And at our level, it really doesn't work.
What would be really interesting, someone out there who's more technically savvy than I am, look into it, but creating an app that boxing promoters could use, that when you get to the venue, you log into it, and you get a code on your ticket or something that activates
the programme.
I'm at this show, and now I've got, fighter profiles, what to look out for in the night, the running order of the show, that kind of thing.
I agree.
I think that would be an interesting one.
I agree. Somebody does that, or you could. But the thing that we're doing here, though, is that's again a non-revenue stream of things. So somebody would have to do that. For me, we've got to look at how boxers generate revenue. This is all gloss and glamour, but it does. Sponsors won't pay much. Yeah. It just doesn't work. So we have done it, and so the answer is it is lovely. We did it for 4 years. We all lost a load of money. It ended up being, and also the other problem that you have is boxing changes so much in the last week on small hall. Boxes all change. So you have an order printed a week before. By the time you get to show night, it's out of date.
3 of the opponents have changed. Running orders different.
Change, yeah. So it is difficult for us to. So it was something that we looked at, but it's something in the past. I don't think physical programs are the way forward anymore. Anyway.
Yeah. Someone look into the app. Come back to me.
Yeah.
Right, cool. That's it. That's all the questions.
Is that it? Brilliant.
Yeah. Right, thank you very much for your time. Hit subscribe. Remember to do that. Tell your friends. Get your kids tablets. What I'm going to do when I get home. Don't subscribe to fucking other kids playing with toys. It's horrendous. You're lucky you haven't got kids of that age.
Yeah, so please do that, because it is. We're here. We are trying to do different things and help the boxers. So it's very important that we do this.
Lovely. All right, and we'll see you next week.
Perfect.
Cheers.